Welcome to this week's Members Weekly Group Coaching Session on Bold Beliefs. This is all part of the Personal Brand Hub. The Personal Brand Hub is a community which I've created founders that are on a similar mission to build a personal brand. As I mentioned, this week is all about bold beliefs, how to stand for something so it clearly tells the wrong people to bugger off and it attracts the right ones, which is really what you want with personal branding. It's all about the law of attraction, which I've mentioned a couple of times. So if you've been here before, you'll know my framework, the Be More You framework. It's an anagram for how to build a personal brand. It's a guideline, a framework. And if you do all of these consistently, then guess what? You'll start attracting better aligned clients, opportunities, talent, and funding. So first of all, you need to share your beliefs, what you stand for and against, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Your experiences, what you've been through in life, what has brought you to this point in time, your unique story, your moments, that's everyday stuff behind the scenes, opinions. So actually sort of same for standing for something, but differentiating yourself, results, bit of social proof to tell people that you're the dog's bollocks, expertise. If you demonstrate your expertise through your content, it'll build trust quicker. Your why, so why do you do what you do? What gets you up in the morning? Appreciating others, and also with others, I think it's quite relevant to talk about helping others for free, which builds trust and accrues goodwill. So I think that's that sort of falls under the others department. And lastly, unfiltered. So dropping the polish sometimes and trying to focus on who you truly are, who your true authentic self is. Now, to start with, who can we think of that stands for something bold? Now, I've chosen Ramsey here, but I want you to have a think about who else you can think of. And I've got someone that I thought of earlier, which is quite funny and also quite polarizing. Now, love him or hate him, you remember Gordon Ramsay. You know what he stands for. He swears like a trumpet. And I think the great thing about Ramsay is he doesn't really care who likes him and who dislikes him. And that, to a lesser degree, is your aim with personal branding. The people that don't like you, or the people that unfollow you on Instagram or on LinkedIn, guess what? You don't want to work with them anyway. So every time my follow account drops by one, I go, brilliant. That's someone that I don't have to ever work with. So what do you already stand for? What comes to mind? What gets you revved up at the moment? Gary, is there anything that you can think of?
Oh,
Careful.
people that wind me up.
Well, let's try and keep it like work
Yeah.
related. Yeah, but go on, give one personal one. Not Crocs with socks. In your industry, content creation, marketing.
Well, we spoke about Stephen Bartlett getting a bit of getting a bit of grief, and I don't really buy that. Well, I don't really get it because I think what he does is really good. I
Yeah,
like I like seeing him on TV. I like seeing him. I think his podcasts are really informative. Yeah, this sometimes can be a little bit controversial, and some of the guests he's interviewing, but I think he's trying to kind of reach a wide range of people. He's not, you know, putting too much his own personal opinion into it. I don't think.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what's your thoughts on the Bartlett?
Yeah, he's got a big ego, hasn't he? But I suppose at that position in life, you kind of need a big ego to get to where you're at. I'll be purely honest, I haven't been keeping an eye on him recently. I used to listen to Diary of the CEO relatively religiously,
Mm,
and now I haven't listened to it for a couple of years. But what does he stand for? Nothing really comes to mind apart from him flogging Huel and his diabetic like thing.
yeah.
I can't really think of anything he stands for. Look, one good example.
I mean, I really like Rory Sutherland, right?
Okay, why?
Why? I think some of the stories he tells, he gives really good kind of background information on companies and genius ideas where he'll talk about how Uber started or how, how
Oh, this is the
Amazon.
marketing guy, isn't it? Oh yeah, of course. I love him. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah.
I don't think he really pays for anything, which is brilliant. I think that's superb. But
Yeah,
I seen there was a TikTok video the other day that he was like, "Here in my new studio, I'm setting up my new podcast," and it looked amazing. It was like
yeah,
top class. But and I kind of
yeah,
thought he's not paid for any of that. But it's all based on his name, on his brand.
yeah,
And I love, yeah, I love the stories he tells about how companies came up with, like the story about Uber is amazing. He tells the story about Uber saying, looking at the pain point for customers, people
yeah,
used to hate phoning for a taxi, a black cab, not knowing where it was going to turn up, if it
yeah,
was going to turn up. Now they just look at their phone, they can see where the car is, they can
yeah,
see the car come into their door. And actually, that idea was stolen from a James Bond film. I think it was Octopussy, where
yeah,
James Bond had a little kind of device like that. So the guys
yeah,
Uber, and I just love the psychology behind that. It's brilliant.
yeah. You're right. Another good example of people that really stand for something, and I don't want to be too polarizing here, but it's politicians because
Yeah,
they're either left wing or right wing.
yeah.
And I was thinking about it, like the more you remember people more, the more left wing they are, the more right wing you are.
Mm.
Like I'm not going to mention like worldwide dictators that are the like far right and the far left, but people like Nigel Farage,
Mm.
people remember him A because he's yappy and he has, to be fair, quite a good personal brand to the guy, and with his drinking pints and stuff like that and smoking his Rotherhams and stuff like that.
Mm.
But it's because he stands for something. I know he hates the European Union and all that shit, but I do not agree with him one bit. But he's
No.
standing for something. He's standing for something, and that's a case in point of being remembered. So, what can you stand for to be remembered by? Bold beliefs create magnetic personal brands. Bash. So, and what I mentioned, the ultimate outcome of having bold beliefs is being remembered. But also, as I mentioned in the title of with this week's session, you push away people that you'd hate to work with, misaligned clients, because they go, okay, I don't align with that belief that Ben or Gary has. I'm not going to choose to work with them. Great, fuck off, gently, gently,
Mm.
and it attracts the people that do agree with your beliefs because you've made them public and you've shared them. And what happens when there's these people hiding behind their companies, the typical people I help, founders that are too scared to post, they're like, oh, I don't want to say that. I'm a bit worried about saying that. Well, guess what's going to happen, buddy? You're just going to attract crap because they don't know what you stand for. And also, another great way it benefits you is it builds trust faster because it sounds like you know what you're talking about, and you sound like you know what you stand for. Like imagine going back to dating again. Like imagine going on a date with someone and trying to be a people pleaser with them. Like, oh, you like that? Oh yeah, I like that too. Oh, you like that? Yeah, I like that too. But if you sit there in front of that girl or the girl sits in front of that boy and they go, well, I know I don't like that. I don't stand for that. When I have a child, this is gonna how I'm gonna raise it, or, you know, I think we should have a shared bank account in 10 years, or whatever. You go, oh, okay, yeah, I align with that. Same with dating. Like, if you're not gonna, if you share your beliefs, then you're just gonna have a much better. It's like communication at the end of the day, right? Anyway, come back tomorrow for more dating advice with Ben.
Yeah, how's that going?
Yeah. Right. What do I stand for and against? And Gary, I'm going to come back to you in a minute because I want you to have a think in what pisses you off in your line of work. So me, it's people that are using AI to replace their personalities. AI is fantastic and it's brilliant, and we should be using it, but we shouldn't be using it to replace our personalities. Um, it's a dangerous game, and yeah, the ones that are going to succeed are the ones with AI, are the ones that use AI to become more human themselves. My next belief is that my Be More You framework is the most effective way of building an authentic personal brand. Um, that's what I stand for, and I believe in it. And going back to my previous business, selling health insurance, one of the reasons I was so good at selling it and sold so much of it and made loads of money was because I believed in the product so much. I had faith. I stood for it. You could tell that I was so enthusiastic about my product that all I had to do was explain the benefits, and the enthusiasm was already there. So it's about being like the truest, clearest, and most authentic version of yourself, the Be More You framework. And for me, it repels people that don't align with my framework and that don't want to or are not willing to be more themselves. Gary, what's something you stand for?
Yeah. Something I,
Oh,
well,
here you go. You got some help here.
well, I tell you what I don't like.
Yeah,
Seeing posts where people are offering free websites, free builds,
this is exactly the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah,
because, or free content shoots or free photos, free photo shoot or whatever, because it devalues all the other kind of professionals in that industry who don't want to offer free websites, but are happy to offer free advice or free guidance because there's no such thing as a free lunch. And
no,
no such thing. Nobody's
yeah.
giving anything away for free. And so that kind of ticks me off a bit, and I try and delete as many as those as I can see. And I also can't stand cold calling, cold outreach, cold call. I
Okay,
get,
well let's be a bit more specific with that because cold calling, no one likes that. So you're just
yeah.
speaking the obvious right there. But
So,
what
you
about standing for cold outreach? Yeah,
so as a content creator and website builder, every day I'm getting cold emails saying we can build your website, we can offer you content, blah blah blah. And I think if you had any idea who I am or what I do, you wouldn't go to a car dealer and say, I can offer you great car finance.
what about going on a date again and going, should we shag on the first date? It's like, no, it's not going to work, mate. So
No,
why do you think it's going to work in business?
yeah. Good. That's a good analogy. Yeah, because I'm saying to these people all that I'm just deleting them all the time, but I'm also like, people reaching out to me all the time, and I have to keep saying I'm not buying.
Yeah.
I'm not in a buying
So
position.
okay, that's fab. How could you weave that into your messaging now? Because you don't stand for that. Now you don't have to specifically say I'm Gary and I hate cold outreach. But what's the opposite of that? What built? I won't pull the words out of your mouth. What's the opposite of cold outreach? And how can you say that this is how I do business?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay, that's a good point. I mean, that's something that well, because that's not something I would do. I wouldn't do cold outreaches and cold calls to
Exactly.
businesses because I know it's pointless and it's annoying. Like a fly, you just want to swat.
Yeah.
So what I stand for is I stand for, well, how can I say this? If people contact me,
Yeah.
I've got a free consultation kind of process,
Yeah.
where I'm not trying to sell them. There's no hard pushy sales
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah.
I offer my services, and if people like them, take me up on them, perfect. But I'm not kind of going out there begging and harassing people to kind of speak to me, which sometimes these messages, and I know everyone gets them. It's just annoying having to delete
Yeah.
them every morning.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
so I guess I
but
stand for the opposite. I stand for the opposite, and I kind of provide a warm kind of welcome, a warm kind of relationship. I kind of
there we go.
want to build a relationship. I want to get to know my clients and customers. What is it they're looking for? What makes them tick? What they like? What they don't like?
Yeah.
Something I always say to people when I'm building websites, for example, is I'll say, send me examples of other sites you like, so I
Yeah.
can feel for your flip, your style, and what I won't
That's
just
more. Yeah. That's more like sales techniques. I'm talking about because we're talking about like cold outreach here, aren't we? Like, how
yeah.
would you? I suppose it comes down to why you're one of my clients at the end of the day because you either do cold outreach and you piss people off, or you attract via your personal brand,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's the two different like parts of the spectrum. You would
Yeah.
have a personal brand that attracts, sorry, you have a personal brand that attracts business and opportunities, and then you have cold outreach. Please come and work with me, which sounds desperate. No one likes it, and it's
Mhm.
like going on a first date and going, let's shag. It's not going to work. Whereas if you have a personal brand and you start sharing the Be More You structure, you build trust before a conversation even begins, and you trigger people to contact you, and you're attracting them. And then by the time they've contacted you, basically, I would say, if they're reaching out to you, I'd say a good 80% of the sale is already complete,
Yeah.
and they've been following you for a while because they know your beliefs, they know how bloody good you are at what you do, they know what your opinions are, they know your results, your social proof, they know your why did you get into business, so they have that emotional connection with you. And because you've been unfiltered and authentic, they really feel like they understand and know you already. So really, what is there to sell?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I've noticed recently I've been getting a lot everyone I know seems to be setting up networking groups, networking
yeah.
events. So, in this last week I've maybe had 3 or 4 invites to different networking events, and I'm slightly getting a wee bit peed off because some of them are quite harassy in messages and text messages, and it's like I'm good for networking just now. I get it, people are trying to advertise these things, but at the same time, it's a bit.
They think, well, I mean, from their perspective, it's like, I'm helping you. You must, I'm helping you. So why are you ignoring me? Like, do you not want a free lunch? Like, do you not want to meet people? Do you not want to grow your business? And it's like, I know what you mean. It's like look, fuck off. Uh,
Yeah,
Give me a break.
yeah, yeah, totally.
But I'm just saying that's basically what they're
The
probably
next
thinking
the
in their
next
head.
the next point, what people get wrong about your industry is value and prices and costs. I get people who kind of struggle a bit and say, "Oh, I didn't think it would cost as much as that." And I say, well,
So
it's value, it's my time, it's not
right,
just my experience.
write that down on a piece of paper now, and I want you to go and include it as a bullet point in your ideal customer persona. One of the headings is, what do your clients typically say? Or what are
Yeah,
the pain points? What are the pain under your pain points section?
yeah,
Just go and edit the document because that document is evolving. It's not just there, it needs to evolve.
yeah.
Like after more conversations that we have through our coaching sessions, you plug that in and go, okay, what type of patterns are you seeing now? Update the ideal customer persona. Because if you just leave it as it is, keep it for that for the next 6 months, it's going to go. It's like setting a course on a sailing boat. Sorry to bring that up. And for one direction, and the wind's taking you off, and the currents are taking you off. And guess what? By the time you think you're at your destination, you're fucking miles away.
Mm.
Should really stop.
Mallorca.
Should really stop swearing. Right, quick exercise for you to uncover your beliefs. So ask 3 friends or mates. I said friends there for women. Sorry, you can call your women friends, mates, if you want. That's how you communicate. What do you reckon I always go on about? What's one thing that annoys me or pisses me off? And you have the hell yes list and the hell nah list. And the hell yeah, it's not like what you do and don't stand for. Don't see it like that. It's more hell yes is your beliefs, your behaviors and values that you stand for and that you love. And the hell no is like, yeah, okay, that really annoys me. That really annoys me. So what grinds your gears or isn't aligned? Um, and those strongest beliefs, like Gary, not, being fed up with people with cold outreach, and you stand for something different, that can be a great piece of content there, or to ingrain it into your messaging, saying, this is what I stand for. It's not about saying, I hate cold people that do cold outreach. It's about saying, this is how I do business. I attract. I don't be like all cocky like I attract. I don't chase. I attract. It's about, yeah, setting your values crystal bloody clear. Um, to say, this is how I operate. This is how I work. I'm not going to do cold outreach. One thing I was thinking of in my messaging is, like in my about section, is just putting in brackets at the bottom saying, none of my posts are written by ChatGPT, and I will never cold DM you. Like disclaimer, semicolon. I will never cold DM you, and I will never write a post purely from ChatGPT. Follow me, okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Now, what do you do now? Now, how to I've kind of touched on this already, but here's some few other ways. And I found myself kind of naturally, since I've introduced my Be More You framework, I've kind of subconsciously done this kind of stuff. Um, you probably think, Ben, aren't you just following your Be More You framework? I kind of am to a degree. I haven't purposely done it, but I am following my Be More You framework. And so how can you weave your beliefs? Like it's all well and good going, okay, I don't stand for that. But how do you actually tell the world it without saying like you're ranting and stuff, like just looking like you're having a massive moan constantly? So what you could do is film a video that's a thinly veiled rant at people in your industry. Those can often do quite well. Yes, they will rustle some feathers, but that's kind of a good thing, because it's, as again, as I say, it's going to push away those people that you don't align with and that you don't want to work with. You could create a carousel on 3 things you stand for in your work. So your values, I respond, I don't know, I turn around projects in 48 hours. I read that somewhere for you, Gary. Or
Mhm.
um, I will never, I will never cold DM people, or I will never overcharge someone, or something like that. I mean, be careful because you don't want to like give people a free ticket to shaft you. But just think about 3 things that you stand for in your work, and maybe even against, if you want to. Do 2 things you stand for and 1 thing you stand against. And as I mentioned a second ago, include a paragraph in your LinkedIn About section. Unlike other X in my industry, I don't dot dot dot. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's a fine example from me recently doing this whole LinkedIn stuff without really doing it consciously. I've been having a go at people on LinkedIn, literally, or using automated commenters. And someone in the founders network last week was promoting them, and I literally nearly unmuted myself and told him to do one. He was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we do automated LinkedIn commenters." I was like, "Oh God, why would you want that? You sound like a robot, and you can spot them a mile away." So there was a guy that commented on Richard Branson's post, and it was like the most soppy ChatGPT bullshit I've ever seen in my life. And even Richard Branson responded. He actually responded to the comment was like 1 word or something like that. Because this guy's like, "Richard, your experience with so and so is a perfect reminder that the most extraordinary connections often come from the unexpected places." And I'm like, "Nate, you're not Jane Austen. Like, give it a fucking break." So every time I spot a comment like that now, I'm like, "Right, video," and I just put the camera up and I just read it aloud. That's all I do. It's quite funny.
Name and shame. Yeah.
Yeah, name and shame. One day I'll get there. Your beliefs are your personal brand. They are how people remember you. So control the narrative. You don't want to be a cookie cutter because no one's going to remember you. You don't want to stand for nothing because, again, no one's going to remember you. So stand for something. Have a mission. The ballsier you are with them, the less you'll blend in. Your aim isn't to be liked by everyone, it's to be liked by the right people. And there are plenty of people out there that will align with you. I guarantee it. Um, yeah, and it's also like it comes back to um, attracting your tribe. Yeah, it all sort of falls into that. I'm saying the obvious there, but I'm just thinking of a guy who does a group. I forgot his name now. He's quite popular on LinkedIn. You probably know him. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, he's got a group coaching thing, and he specifically targets like geeks and nerds. And I'm like, genius. Like he does wizards and witches and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's fucking genius. Like there's so many neat geeks and nerds out there, like so many that run businesses and are successful. He's going to attract those specifically because he's speaking to them. Ah, that's what I was trying to say. It goes back to your niche. So it forms part of your niche. Like I help this XYZ profession or sex or age group, but your beliefs also form part of that niche as well. So it makes it more specific, and you're going to be speaking to those specific people, and therefore they're going to reach out to you because you are speaking to them directly. Be someone your type of people would fight to work with, basically. That's what I said there. And if someone unfollows you, fantastic. You're doing the right thing. And that picture of me is ChatGPT with a absolutely, like, that's Mallorca, that's Menorca. Ibiza's supposed to be here.